Richmond gives Dillon some redemption, gives us a 12-car pileup, and shakes up the playoffs dramatically. Plus, I've got some excellent Q to talk about. Let's get into it. Well, hi folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ, a lifelong NASCAR fan and chef, and on today's menu, we are going to recap the chaos that was Richmond last night. We'll hand out my weekly thumbs up or thumbs down and update the playoff picture for you guys, and we'll round things out with a quick talk about how things went when I put together some Virginia-style barbecue for the race. So let's dive right on into it and kick things off with the race recap. Well, Richmond finally reminded us why we love short tracks. Goodyear actually brought a good combination of tires this weekend. It was a concern going into the weekend what the tires were actually going to do. Goodyear brought us the same option tire from Phoenix earlier this season for the right sides, and then said that the left side tires are going to be even softer. So we were already expecting a big tire strategy race, which is very common for Richmond for sure. But this one definitely produced really great racing. I'm very pleased with it. We saw 2 wide, 3 wide, even 4 wide racing throughout the night. And there was actually passing going on throughout the race. It wasn't just the typical next gen, aero blocking, getting stuck behind someone. No, the battles that were several laps long were from drivers just driving their tails off. We saw some really good battles all throughout the night. Blaney and Dillon had a great one for 10 laps for the lead towards the end of the race. There were several to point out throughout the night. Excellent racing out of Richmond last night. Good job on Goodyear and NASCAR to put together that combination. So I hope they're paying attention. This is how we fix the short tracks in the next gen era. Tire wear. Everybody's been harping on it all season long. We finally saw the proof in the pudding. The other factor there, of course, is the high abrasiveness of the track surface there at Richmond. If Iowa suddenly became highly abrasive with this tire, it probably would become a good race. Now, Austin Dillon absolutely drove the race of his life last night and proves that he's got Richmond figured out. I don't know where this came from. Austin Dillon, not typically known to be a short track racer by any means, typically struggles at Martinsville, Bristol for sure that I can think of. Up until last year, never even thought of him as a Richmond kind of guy, but he's got it figured out. Played the tire management game perfectly and held off late charging Alex Bowman at the end of the race. The call of the night, however, came from his crew chief when they short pitted just after passing Ryan Blaney for the lead on the final pit cycle. That right there is what got Austin Dillon the win for sure. Granted, he did a great job managing tires at the end, and Ryan Blaney absolutely fell off. He had nothing for him there at the end. In fact, fell off so hard that Bowman was able to catch and pass him for second. But definitely the call of the race out of the number 3 crew chief to secure the win for Dillon wasn't a fluke. I'll say that. Definitely not a fluke. He led over 100 laps tonight and was sniffing the front of the field early on in the race. However, we did see early on in the race, Wallace and Reddick were the ones to run away with this. Unfortunately, they got snake bit. Reddick getting caught up in a mess between Gibbs and Suarez, and then Wallace, of course, with that wild tire deal on pit road. Go find the video if you didn't see it. That was pretty nuts. His tire chased him down pit road before he eventually stopped and got it stopped in the 19 box, which then finished off the tire. Yeah, wild stuff. All under green flag conditions and did not bring out a caution, which would have thrown a huge wrench into the way the race was playing out there towards the end. There was, however, a caution during green flag cycles in stage 2 that threw a wrench into everything and then resulted in a massive pileup, 12 cars involved on the subsequent restart. That one was actually started by Kyle Busch getting into the back of Chase Briscoe, and everybody all tight together just piled into each other. The big loser in that one was Chase Elliott, who looked like he was going to squeeze through everything until Kyle Busch just kind of lazily made his way back down the track and right hooked. Not intentionally, but right hooked Chase Elliott hard into the outside wall and produced Elliott's first DNF of the season. So I'm going to say this wasn't just a good race. This was the best short track race we've had this season. Probably not all-timers, but you could put it up there. There could be the argument to be made. There were comer and goers. There was actual tire fall off, which highlighted driver skill tonight in their tire management. And it's what we've all been begging for all season long as fans. So all in all, a good deal, which leads us to give this race a thumbs up or thumbs down. All right, well, I think it's pretty obvious. This one's getting a thumbs up out of me. This was a good one. Absolutely true classic short track racing, exactly what we were all hoping for, and it finally delivered. And delivered in front of a sellout crowd. So good deal for Richmond, that's for sure. The combination was exactly what we wanted, and no doubt I'm giving this one a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys thought of the race. Leave an emoji of a thumbs up or thumbs down in the comments below with a thought or two as to what brought you to that one. And we'll keep a running tally of that as the season goes on. As you can see here, season's looking pretty good so far, with just a few exceptions on the year. Again, thank you guys all for contributing to the thumbs up and thumbs down segment. Before we dive into what the playoff picture now looks like after the Richmond race, I do want to talk about how SVG's night went for all of you guys down under that are fans of SVG. He had a okay starting spot. It was in the 20s. Not great, but we know SVG is still learning on the ovals. But he found himself his own line in the race and man, made it work for sure. He ended up getting a 14th place finish on the evening, which is very impressive, and held his own throughout the race. Had a couple of incidences. He had a run-in on pit road, which was not great. Had a run-in on the track, not great either, but persevered. That team held strong, finished the race very well. So good job, SVG. He's learning really well. They asked him before the race, what he's been doing to get prepared for this one. And he said he watched a ton of SMT data and footage from Denny Hamlin, who is obviously a huge ringer here at Richmond, and then also looked at Chastain's data as well, because of course he would have as close of a setup to Chastain's. So let's dive now into what the playoff picture looks like after the Richmond race, and Dillon's big win, of course, moves the playoff bubble line now. Reddick and Bowman are now on the bubble with Busch and Preece on the outside looking in. Reddick's very comfortable point advantage has slipped away over this last month. He was over 150 points to the good. Now he's only 89 to the good. And with Daytona looming next week, very real possibility, not huge possibility, but a real possibility that Reddick could actually miss the playoffs. It would take three major things all happening in the same night for that to occur. He would have to wreck out early, DNF. Bowman would have to have a stellar night, and we'd have to have a first-time winner for all of that to happen. But it's Daytona. It could happen. Yes, Daytona is probably going to produce a whole lot of 2x2 follow the leader and fuel mileage, which has a lot of us fans frustrated for sure. But, it's the final race before the playoffs begin, and everybody's going to, not everybody, but a large portion of the field is going to be pushing really hard to lead and get the win before we hit the playoffs. Now let's shift gears from horsepower to barbecue. I went all in for the Richmond race and looked into what Virginia barbecue is all about. Went out on the internet and found a Richmond-specific barbecue sauce recipe. I'll link that down below for you guys to take a look at. It is called Griffin's Old Virginia Red, and it's delicious, man. Good mix of tangy, sweet, and even savory in there. It's got a combination of apple cider vinegar. I used tomato sauce instead of the ketchup that the recipe offered, the brown sugar, and most of the seasonings that I had available to myself. I did not include the nutmeg in this one. But nonetheless, very close to what the original recipe was calling for, and fantastic. I decided to go with pork shoulder as my protein of choice this weekend, and to speed everything up, I use the Instapot to saute the outside of the pork shoulder and get everything locked in as far as flavor goes, and then put it under the pressure cooker for about 90 minutes to get everything nice and tender. Let's not forget that, as I do with all pork and chicken products, I brined it first. And that overnight brine always gives extra juiciness to those two types of proteins. Once the pork was done in the pressure cooker, I got it shredded up and put it on a plate with a big scoop of potato salad, and then bottled up the barbecue sauce as you would normally find in a curbside barbecue stand. And that's how I enjoyed my pork and potato salad last night while watching the Richmond race. It was a great combination, and I highly recommend you guys check out that sauce recipe. Very easy to put together. You combine all the ingredients, bring to a boil, simmer on low until reduced by a third, and you're ready to go. So that's Richmond in the books. We had plenty of great storylines throughout the race. We saw a surprise, I would call it a surprise win out of Austin Dillon, and a big playoff shakeup, as well as a big one for Team Chaos out there all around. A great race. I really enjoyed it. My only downside to all of it is just how late things ended. It was 11 o'clock by the time that race ended, and having been up since 5:30 in the morning for work, my butt was tired. So that's why this video has come out for you guys on Sunday. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you are enjoying what I'm doing around here, please leave a like and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode of Racin-n-Braisin. Until next time, guys, stay happy.